Next guy is an interesting presenter. He comes natively from Israel. Now he lives in Taipei. And of course, when you combine those two segments, it's more than usual that he works for Frankfurt MESSE. He will be talking about big things in the industry and how you can learn a little bit more after this presentation. He likes the data, he likes the analysis. He is Israel Gogol. Hi Israel.
Hello.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
You're ready for the lecture?
Yes.
Because you're the bravest guy in here because you have a lecture after the coffee break. One question, how is it to live in Taipei?
It's a wonderful city, the nicest place in Asia, but don't come there for the weather.
Okay, so you're doing business inside Taipei for which part of the world?
I am responsible for Asia besides China, which includes India, Thailand, Vietnam, and Taiwan.
Oh, so a lot of flying, but not towards Europe, right?
Yes.
Okay, so enjoy in your time, and we're gonna mark all your steps because we are friends on Facebook with Frankfurt MESSE.
Okay. Thank you for joining me. I know that after coffee break is not a good time, but I'm optimistic. After lunch is usually even worse. So, my name is Israel. I come from Israel. I live in Taiwan. I work for a German company. Besides being a model of globalization, I will tell you a little bit about what I do, what we're going to talk about, and what I'm responsible for. So, I work for MESSE Frankfurt. MESSE Frankfurt is a German multinational company that organizes exhibitions around the world for pretty much everything from baking to elevators and escalators. I work for the technology business unit, which organizes trade shows for security and fire and safety. MESSE Frankfurt organizes these activities under two brand names, Secutech, which is in Asia, and more familiar here in Europe, Intersec. Intersec in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, the Adria Security Summit, which is powered by Intersec, and starting from 2020, we're also going to have Intersec Building in Frankfurt, which is combined with another building show that we are holding, Europe's largest building show, and will demonstrate integrated solutions for security and fire and safety in the context of the building. What do I do for Secutech? I manage the international department for all 4 Secutech shows in Asia, in Taiwan, India, Vietnam, and Thailand. What does it mean? If a company, let's say from Europe, wants to come to one of our shows in Vietnam or Thailand, they go through my team. Or if a distributor or importer from, let's say from Slovenia, wants to import products from Taiwan, Korea, China, they can come as a VIP buyer, join one of our VIP buyer programs, and also come through my team. Besides security shows, we also publish security magazines called ANS. ANS stands for Automation and Security. We have 11 magazines in Japan, in China, in Taiwan, in ASEAN, in India, in Russia, in Poland, in Adria, and in Italy. Besides that, we also have websites. In total, we cover about 220,000 professional readers in the field of security and fire safety. So through this interaction with professional channel players, distributors, integrators, manufacturers, we collect a lot of information, and part of this information I'm going to share with you today in this presentation. I hope you will find it interesting. If you have any questions, you can find me later on during the day, and I will be happy to tell you more. So, we will now move to the weather forecast. We have a map with numbers and a man in a suit talking about what we can see. I chose surveillance, video surveillance, as a case study to talk a little bit about trends that we see in the global security world. The reason I chose video surveillance is because video surveillance accounts for about 52% of the professional security market that we see. So the global surveillance market is about 15.6 billion US dollars. This is product sales. Okay, this value is from product sales. The access control is about 4 billion, alarm monitoring is about 3 point something billion. The total professional security market in terms of sales is about 30 billion US dollars. The big money, however, is not in product sales. It is in system integration. That is a 64, 65 billion US dollar market. Okay, security system integration. And alarm monitoring, which is 36, 37 billion US dollar market. So the big money in the security industry is in the services segment, not so much in product sales. And when we look at the map, we see that in the biggest markets, we have, of course, countries like United States and United Kingdom and Ireland. But those markets are relatively small. Today, most of the growth in the global security market is happening in Asia Pacific and in Central and South America. In Asia Pacific, in countries like China, India, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, we're talking about growth above 10%, between 10 and 12.5% annual growth. In Western Europe, the growth is still there, but much more moderate, about 3.5% in Western Europe, 4.5% in Eastern Europe. And the market is, of course, smaller compared to the growing markets of Asia Pacific. If we switch to a product category view, and not just the market speed, we can see that video surveillance and access control are the well-established product categories and have the most market share. They also have the smallest growth in terms of speed. Most of the growth that we see now, and I see when I go to shows, when I talk to manufacturers, when I talk to people, is in the niche services segment. The biggest growth is in video analytics, which was a very, very small segment up until a few years ago, and now is growing at around 40% a year. Cloud access control, cloud video surveillance is also growing very, very fast. Storage, especially enterprise storage, is also a fast-growing segment. And if we look at the technology and what is continuing to come to the market, pretty much the trends that we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years will continue. Megapixel cameras, more and more adoption of IP cameras and high-resolution IP cameras in new projects. And we also see that analog cameras are not exiting the market completely. I talked with a few manufacturers when I was preparing this presentation, and sales of analog cameras are about 100 million units a year. So it is still a substantial part. Not everything is IP. Analog is still a substantial part of the CCTV sector. And this year, 4K resolution is going to be released for analog cameras. There will be audio, video, and power over coaxial cables. So there is a good chance that 4K analog cameras will have a good position in the market because they will be very cost competitive and easy to install. Sorry. So, Security 50. Our magazine, ANS International, publishes an annual ranking of the top 50 security companies in the world. It is published every November, and this ranking is based on revenue. Revenue from product sales, not from system integration. And the point of the ranking is to give a good understanding of who are the leading players in the security industry. I have good news and bad news. The good news is that all the leading brands of the security world today are present in this conference. The bad news, if you read the ranking from year to year, you see that very little has changed. The top 10 companies in the security industry today, companies like Hikvision, Bosch, Dahua, Honeywell, FLIR, Avigilon, everybody else that is here, still continue to dominate the security market. So the top 10 companies control about 82% of the security market. Where do we see new companies coming in? We see now in the second tier, places 10 to 20, 20 to 30, we see new companies coming. Now, these are companies that are not so known to many people, but are growing very fast. And I predict that in the next couple of years, maybe you will also see them. These are companies like TND, a Chinese company, Kedacom, which is also growing very fast, especially in Southeast Asia, TVT Digital, NetPosa, and CP+. Who here has heard of NetPosa? Okay. Budwan heard of NetPosa, very good. NetPosa is a Chinese VMS company. They have almost complete market domination over the VMS and enterprise VMS market inside China. They do all the VMS systems for the Safe City projects in China, almost all the projects for the Chinese police. So if you count how big they are by the number of licenses and installations, they're third in the world after Milestone and Genetec. They're concentrating only on the Chinese market, so very few people outside of China and outside of Asia are familiar with them. They did get a little bit of attention in December last year when they tried to buy Aracont Vision in the United States. In the end, the deal didn't follow through, but that was one of the first times that NetPosa appeared outside of China trying to acquire a United States camera manufacturer. It's too bad for Aracont Vision that this deal didn't come through, because NetPosa was willing to pay something around $200 million for Aracont, and in the end, Aracont was sold to another company from the Security 50, but for much less money. Okay, CP+. Who knows CP+? 3 people. So CP+ is an Indian company. They are the third camera manufacturer in India after Hikvision and Dahua. And they're also moving out aggressively outside of India into markets like Vietnam, like Thailand, rest of Southeast Asia. And when you look at their plan, it is very, very aggressive. So it is not inevitable that we will see Indian manufactured cameras also coming into Europe. Only recently they planned to raise $100 million to fund their international expansion. I travel quite often to India because of my work. We have a show there, Secutech India, and you can see Shah Rukh Khan. Nobody know who watches Bollywood? Nobody. Anyway, CP+, they advertise in India using a local Bollywood star called Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh Khan is more popular than Tom Cruise, but because he is popular almost only in India, people don't know him outside, and people also don't know CP+. But if you go to India, you will see posters with Shah Rukh Khan advertising CP+ cameras. So going down the road another 2-3 years, I believe that you will see these names coming up more and more, maybe even here in Europe, and then you can say, I heard it first in the Adria Security Summit. The security industry is still lucrative, even though in terms of manufacturers, we see that the top 10 companies control almost most of the market. We do see new companies from other sectors, mainly IT sector, moving into security. Each company for their own reasons. One of the best examples is Nvidia. Nvidia is a company that makes graphic processing units, screen cards, mostly for games, but also deeply involved in artificial intelligence. They started with autonomous cars, and last year they introduced a concept called Metropolis AI. What is their vision for a smart city? Okay, so today Nvidia processors, GPUs are used by companies like Hikvision, like Avigilon, like Dahua, in their servers by Milestone for computer-enhanced processing of video. But there's also a chance that Nvidia itself will not just sell hardware to other companies, but will move into video surveillance and offer tailored products. Another company that is interesting to mention in this case is a Chinese company called Bitmain. Has anyone heard of Bitmain? No. You heard. You're into cryptocurrency. Very good. Bitmain is a Chinese company that is famous for making cryptocurrency mining machines. You buy a computer that has a GPU inside, and what they do is mine Bitcoins, Ethereum, and because they're also experts in graphic processing, they said there's a huge potential in video surveillance. We already have the technology, we just use it for Bitcoin mining. Why not make another version for artificial intelligence for video surveillance? And if you came to Securtech Taipei, our show, today is September, 5 months ago, in April, you would have seen a booth, small booth, not big, only 3 people, but with a Bitmain machine that is working on facial recognition for video surveillance. Okay? Another interesting company that I would like to point to is Red Hat. Red Hat is a company that should be familiar to anybody from an IT background. They are very famous for enterprise Linux servers. So this is an IT company, very big IT company. How come they're suddenly moving into video surveillance? They're offering software-defined storage. And their business model is the same business model that they have from their IT world. They are an open source company, and the software is free to use. You pay for certification, you pay for quality assurance, you pay for training. That is how they make their money. They identified that there is a growing need in storage for video surveillance, and they're through partners, companies like Dell, like Milestone, they are approaching large video surveillance projects. Okay? Motorola Solutions, which is a company that deals with communication systems for mission-critical environments, bought Avigilon this year. Why? Because they also see that in the future, the need for a good integrated solution between cameras and communication systems, let's say in a context of a safe city, will grow. So they think that there is a good fit. These 2 examples of Avigilon, Motorola buying Avigilon and Red Hat also show one of the key topics that we have today in the business model side of the security industry. There are 2 schools of thought. One is the open platform. Everybody can work with me, I work with everybody. And the other one is the closed garden. I am proprietary, you can work only with me, but I give you the full solution. What is better? I cannot say what is right or what is wrong. It is more of a philosophical question. It is like choosing iPhone or choosing Android. For some people this work, and for some people this work. But if you look at the dynamics of the security industry, you will see that this dilemma between open platform and closed platform is also growing in the last few years. And another interesting company that is entering the security industry, albeit in a small scale, is Amazon. Amazon this year acquired a company called Ring, which does home security cameras and video door phones for $1 billion. That is not pocket money. Why did they do that? They do that because they want to mostly compete with Gogol that bought Nest camera. But it is also part of Amazon's vision of offering in-home deliveries, having a smart door lock that you can open the door when the package comes, the guy leaves it inside and then closes the door and you lock the door, you don't have to be at home. And they are also now in the United States offering alarms, alarm and monitoring. So you can buy the alarm kit, install it in home, And of course, you get the installer through Amazon, and you pay Amazon for web hosting of the video of the alarm, and they work with a local contractor that if the alarm rings, they will send the car. So I don't know, it is still a very, very small scale, so I don't know if we will see Amazon becoming a big name in the security industry, like Hikvision, Dahua, or Avigilon, but they are already present through AWS, through their cloud platform, and now in the United States, they're starting to slowly take a bigger foothold in the smart home market. Deep learning and artificial intelligence. We heard a lot about deep learning and artificial intelligence. Personally, I feel that we need to take everything with a grain of salt. Of course, artificial intelligence has huge promise for the security sector. We can train the system to automatically go over video and find suspicious incidents. We can do it either by incident similarity, training the system, this is how it looks when somebody breaks the fence, or we can do it by detecting abnormalities. Okay? Usually only 20 people walk in this gate to the stadium. If suddenly you see 200 people, it is dangerous. Raise an alert. But at this moment, I feel that, this is my personal opinion, that artificial intelligence is in the danger of becoming a buzzword. So anybody that is considering artificial intelligence needs to verify the solution very, very well. I'll give you an example. Recently, Bosch bought a 9% share in an Israeli AI company called Nvidia for 23 million US dollars. They bought 9% of the company for 23 million US dollars. So it means that the whole company is worth about $230 million. If we go back a few slides, we will see that it is almost the worth of the whole surveillance sector in the UK. How old do you think Anyvision is? How many years has the company been in business? Yes. 3 years. 5 years. Okay. So the real answer is 3 years. Okay. So of course, it is very good for the company that in 3 years they brought a software startup into $230 million valuation. But also, we still need to check if it's really worth it. Okay, so they have promising technology, they have good deployments, but to grow a company in our sector to $230 million market capitalization in 3 years is, to me, it looks weird. Okay, let's take another example. Canon bought BriefCam for $90 million US dollars. BriefCam is a video analytics company that specializes in video synopsis. They take a lot of video footage and they analyze it so you can quickly search through it, and let's say I only want to find red cars that passed on this highway in the last 2 days. So instead of sitting in front of the video watching 48 hours of video looking for red cars, they squeeze everything into a 10-minute video. BriefCam is in the market for 10 years, has patents, has proven technology, has proven field applications, and was bought for 90 million US dollars. So the promise of Anyvision could be very, very big. It is very possible that this company is the next big thing that nobody knew of. But maybe if you are considering any sort of AI deployment, you need to be careful in your evaluation of the promise vis-a-vis reality. Okay? Canon specifically, right now, I personally feel is a very, very interesting case in the security industry. In the last few years, Canon acquired Axis, Milestone, and BriefCam. So now it is like a sleeping giant. It is one company that owns a camera manufacturer. They have their own cameras also. VMS platform and now video analytics platform, but still they give a lot of autonomy to each one of these companies and they run independently. When and how they decide to synergize everything, I don't know. But when they do it, Canon will become a giant in the video security industry. Future challenges. Cybersecurity is definitely one of the future challenges that we are all going to hear about more and more. And in the coming 2 to 3 years, we will also see dedicated solutions for cybersecurity. As our world and the security sector becomes more connected, not just the access control and the video surveillance, but also it will be connected to your phone. The phone will start to become instead of the key card, will become the main access passage. We're talking about more and more billions of connected devices. So cybersecurity will definitely be an important point for all the manufacturers and for all the players in the security industry. This is not just to prevent attacks, somebody taking over your system, but also today in the era of GDPR, of privacy protection, companies will have to pay much more attention that their products are secure and compliant with the different regulations, especially in the European Union, to show that your data is protected. So also if we look at the landscape of companies and what they are delivering now, we see more and more dedicated solutions for cybersecurity, for IoT. Okay, so if you ask me, based on my conversations with companies, security shows that I go to, my conversations with manufacturers, with the system integrators, what will be the future challenges of the security industry, I can see a few things that are worth consideration. First of all, IoT. IoT and connectivity will definitely be the next frontier of the security industry in terms of integration and solutions that we can deliver. IHS says that by 2020, the world will have 21 billion connected devices. Cameras, phones, parking systems, everything. Okay, we're not talking yet about having the smart fridge that knows automatically when you are out of eggs, but having your phone connected to your work network so you can get emails, and the door to the office also connected to your phone so you can scan and open it, and maybe your hotel will also use a smartphone to check in. Everything will be connected, and there will be a need for more for a whole new methodology how to secure these deployments and for more dedicated security solutions. Another platform that I see is growing is drones and other unmanned platforms, robots that you can use for perimeter protection. Instead of having a car with guards patrol the fence, you can get a robot with cameras to patrol around the fence. It works if it's hot, if it's cold. It doesn't go to sleep in the middle of the night. It all depends on the price, if it is more cost effective to have a robot do it or a person to do it. Drones can be used for fire and safety to detect fires. You put a thermal camera on a drone, it goes above a forest fire and it can tell you where is the epicenter of the fire, so you can get intelligence quickly. You can have unmanned boats patrol lakes or entrances to harbors to see if somebody is drowning, if it is a recreational area, or to detect if fishermen are going into an unallowed zone. And last but not least, one thing that I see that more and more companies are considering is the threat of inside attack. For many years, security as a concept thought, what happens when somebody from the outside tries to break in? How do I do perimeter protection to keep everybody out? How do I install CCTV cameras and alarms to make sure that nobody breaks in? Today we see that the threat of an inside attack is growing. How do I protect myself from an employee who is angry at me and decides to burn the place, or decides to steal all my commercial secrets, take all my business cards and move to the competition? What do I do? Okay, so the design concepts of security in the coming few years focus a lot on business continuity and resiliency. They assume that something bad will happen. It is almost impossible to stop somebody who is really dedicated to do something bad. But when we design the security system, how should we design the security system to allow minimum damage and maximum continuity for our business? Thank you. This concludes my presentation. I appreciate all of you coming, even though it is a difficult time after coffee break and right before lunch. I hope you enjoyed. I will be here during the day. If you want to approach me, if you have any questions about our shows in Asia, or you want to come as a visitor, or any questions about the presentation, feel free to find me. Thank you.